I read a line somewhere which says you can silence 50 scholars with one fact, but you cannot silence an idiot with 50 facts. This one line perfectly captures the tragedy of our age. Because when critical thinking dies, collective stupidity naturally rises. In such a world, everyone is convinced they are right and everyone else is wrong. Opinions grow louder than logic and emotions grow stronger than evidence. But the real question is, why does this happen? Why is critical thinking dying faster in our time than ever before? That is exactly what I will explore in this video. But before we can understand why it is fading away, we need to step back for a moment. We need to ask, when did critical thinking first emerge in human history? What does it actually mean to think critically? After all, you might be thinking a lot, but are you truly thinking critically? So, let's get into it. What is critical thinking and its origin? Critical thinking is more than just thinking a lot. It is the disciplined habit of questioning assumptions, seeking evidence, and applying reason before accepting any belief. In simple words, it is the art of not being fooled by others or by your own mind. Its roots stretch back over 2,500 years to ancient Greece. The philosopher Socrates pioneered a method of probing dialogue now known as the Socratic method.
By asking sharp, uncomfortable questions, he exposed contradictions and weak foundations in what people thought they knew. He reminded us of a timeless truth. The only thing I know is that I know nothing. This humility, admitting ignorance before chasing clarity, is the very foundation of critical thought. But Socrates paid the ultimate price for his relentless questioning. In 399 BCE, he was accused of corrupting the youth and disrespecting the gods. His insistence on independent thinking threatened the comfort of society, and he was sentenced to death. From there, thinkers like Plato and Aristotle carried forward the torch of reason, building the framework of logic, inquiry, and skepticism. Centuries later, during the Enlightenment, philosophers such as Immanuel Kant called on humanity to rise from ignorance with the motto Sapere Aude. Dare to think for yourself. Voltaire and others championed the same spirit, challenging dogma and celebrating reason as the bedrock of progress. Critical thinking became the cornerstone of science, democracy, and innovation. It was long considered the mark of an educated mind, the ability to examine claims, weigh evidence, and cut through illusions. Of course, critics also emerged. Friedrich Nietzsche once accused Socrates of overvaluing reason, warning that an obsession with questioning could drain life of its richness. Yet despite these critiques, the legacy of critical thinking has endured. It remains the freedom to ask why, to go beyond the surface of appearances, and to search for clarity in a world clouded with noise. But today, we are witnessing its decline more than ever. And why this is happening is what I'm going to discuss now.
We live in an age where every answer is just one click away. At first glance, this feels empowering. We have the wisdom of the world in our pockets. But the reality is far darker. We are drowning in information, and the human brain was never built to process this flood. Psychologists call it information overload, when data bombards us faster than we can reflect, forcing us to take mental shortcuts. Think about it. If someone asks you to calculate 56 plus 87, do you pause and work it out, or do you instantly reach for your phone? Most of us choose the shortcut. Every detail of life has become Googleable. And while that makes life easier, it also trains us to offload our thinking onto machines. Over time, we forget how to reason deeply because we've stopped practicing it. The Nobel laureate Daniel Kahneman once described two modes of thought: System 1, which is fast, automatic, and intuitive, and System 2, which is slow, effortful, and rational. Critical thinking lives in System 2. It is the part of us that questions, analyzes, and doubts. But here's the problem. When apps, calculators, and AI do the hard work for us, System 2 is left idle. Like a muscle that is never exercised, our deeper reasoning begins to atrophy. This is why many people today remember not the answer itself, but only where to find it. Studies even show that constant reliance on search engines makes us less likely to commit knowledge to memory. It's what researchers call the Google effect. We outsource our intelligence, skimming headlines and trusting the first popular result. The result? Mental laziness. Our world moves so fast that we don't stop to reflect. We prefer instant headlines over complex reasoning, sound bites over analysis, intuition over scrutiny. The Socratic method of questioning, asking why and refusing to accept easy answers, has been replaced by a culture of Google it and forget it. Information overload has given us the illusion of knowledge but stripped away the discipline of thought.
And in that silence, critical thinking quietly dies. Information overload may dull our minds, but something even more dangerous follows: the comfort of only hearing what we already believe. And this is what I am going to discuss now. If information overload weakens our ability to think, echo chambers destroy our willingness to think. In today's world, we live inside countless tribes, political, religious, cultural, or even based on hobbies and interests. Human beings naturally seek out people who agree with them. But technology has magnified this instinct to dangerous levels. Social media algorithms now track every click, like, and comment, then feed us content that matches our past beliefs. The result? We end up surrounded by opinions that sound just like our own. This is the echo chamber, a place where we only hear our own voices echoed back at us. If you believe A, you will rarely encounter a strong case for not A. Over time, the mind gets lazy. It accepts whatever confirms its worldview and dismisses the rest as fake, biased, or stupid. This is confirmation bias, the mental shortcut that prefers comfort over challenge. And in an age of endless digital tribes, almost everyone is trapped in one. What's worse, echo chambers are not just found in conspiracy groups or fanatical cults. Even skeptics, atheists, and self-proclaimed rationalists can form close circles where their assumptions are never questioned. When the group's opinion feels safe, our deeper reasoning, our system 2, goes silent. Instead of questioning, we conform. The effect is groupthink. Each tribe convinces itself that we alone have the truth, while outsiders are branded as blind, foolish, or even evil. Echo chambers breed blind spots. People stop asking, "Why do I believe this?" and instead say, "This is just what we believe." Honest questions start to feel like betrayal. The result is a society where dogma replaces dialogue, and loyalty to the tribe matters more than loyalty to truth. This is the exact opposite of the Socratic spirit, the courage to seek truth over comfort, even when it hurts. If information overload weakens the mind and echo chambers trap it, then sensationalism manipulates it. Modern media, whether it's news outlets, social feeds, or influencers, has mastered the art of drama. They know one thing very well: outrage sells. Attention is currency, and nothing grabs attention faster than exaggeration. Headlines are designed not to inform, but to provoke. Stories are often framed in the most shocking way possible. "You won't believe this," or "The world is ending if you don't act now." Even educators and honest creators feel pressured to exaggerate, because without drama, no one clicks. In fact, I admit that I sometimes use extreme titles like "The Only Way to Feel Peace" just to draw people in. It's an irony of our time. You must play the game of exaggeration or your message gets lost. But this is for a good cause, to make you watch videos like this. But in other cases, the problem is this constant hype numbs us. When everything is advertised as a crisis, nothing feels trustworthy anymore. People lose patience for nuance, and their emotions take over where logic should be.
Critical thinking struggles in an environment where every headline screams emergency, every post demands instant reaction, and every issue is addressed as a life or death battle. This is not new. Journalism has long followed the rule, if it bleeds, it leads. But today's 24/7 news cycle, fueled by algorithms and profit-driven clicks, pushes sensationalism to an extreme. Breaking news banners, exaggerated statistics, and fear-loaded phrases like record lows or worst ever are used constantly, even when the situation requires calm analysis. The result? A population that is always anxious, always distracted, and rarely thoughtful. We click, we share, we panic, but we don't pause to think. In a world where everything is hyped to the third degree, rational discourse becomes almost impossible. Sensationalism creates a rumor mill of outrage, where slow and careful thought feels out of place. Instead of Socratic questioning, we are left with knee-jerk reactions. And once again, collective stupidity grows stronger. But the real question is, how can we stop this? And this is what I'm going to discuss now.
How to rekindle your critical thinking. 5 ways. Encourage curiosity. Curiosity is the antidote to mental laziness. Einstein once admitted, "I have no special talents. I am only passionately curious." Curious people don't stop at the first answer. They ask why again and again. Before accepting any claim, pause and ask yourself, what is the evidence? How do I know this? What if the opposite were true? The quality of our thinking is revealed by the quality of our questions. Reading widely, journaling, or joining discussions and debates can help you revive that Socratic spirit of inquiry. Slow down and think. In a world that demands instant reactions, learn to resist. When you see a shocking headline, don't just skim, read the full article, trace the source, and reflect. Avoid multitasking when dealing with complex ideas. Meditation and mindfulness can also train your focus. Remember Daniel Kahneman's insight. Our System 2 thinking, the slow, effortful kind, is where real analysis lives. Strengthen it by doing the math yourself, writing out arguments, or weighing pros and cons before making decisions. Diversify your sources. Escape your echo chamber. Deliberately seek out perspectives that challenge you. Read media from different sides of the spectrum, follow thinkers you disagree with, and explore viewpoints from other cultures. When you encounter statistics or claims, trace them back to their original sources. Play devil's advocate with your own beliefs and invite others to question them. This is how you weaken confirmation bias and strengthen your ability to see clearly. Reform education and leadership. Critical thinking must also be cultivated at a societal level. Schools should emphasize reasoning, debate, and analysis over rote memorization. Philosophy, logic, and science projects that demand inquiry help train young minds to think. Adults can do the same by studying logic, skepticism, or works by great thinkers. Leaders, too, must model critical thought, showing not just conclusions but the reasoning behind them. When public figures admit uncertainty and demonstrate honest inquiry, they set a cultural example. That questioning is strength, not weakness. Every day, pick one assumption and flip it. Ask, what if this is wrong? What if the opposite were true? This simple exercise forces your mind into deeper reasoning. Another practice is teach back. Try to explain a complex idea to someone else. If you stumble, that reveals the gaps in your own understanding. Skepticism here is not cynicism. It's the courage to refine your knowledge by testing it. In the end, rekindling critical thinking means refusing to live on autopilot. It's choosing to question instead of blindly accepting, to reflect instead of react. As Socrates reminded us more than 2,000 years ago, the unexamined life is not worth living.
We gather here today to mourn a death, not of a person, not of a nation, but of something far more sacred, the death of the human mind. Look around you. Really look. What do you see? You see people moving, breathing, working, scrolling, but not thinking, not really. We have buried the very thing that made us human, the ability to think independently, to question deeply, to resist the comfortable lie. And the tragedy? Most people don't even know they attended the funeral. You want to believe you're different, that you're awake while everyone else sleeps, but here's the truth that cuts deeper than any blade. You might be one of them. You might be exactly what they engineered you to be: obedient, distracted, comfortable in your chains. Because something happened, something we didn't see coming. While we celebrated progress, smartphones, social media, unlimited information at our fingertips, they quietly replaced our minds with menus, our curiosity with clicks, our sovereignty with subscriptions. We traded the depth of thought for the dopamine of notifications, and we called it evolution. I know what you're feeling right now. That uncomfortable twist in your gut, that voice whispering, "Is he talking about me?" Good. That discomfort is the first sign of life in a dying mind. Because convenience was never free. Every time you chose easy over right, comfort over truth, distraction over discipline, you paid a price. We all did. And that price? It was our ability to think for ourselves. They didn't need to burn the books. They just needed to make sure you never had time to read them. They didn't need to ban questions. They just needed to give you better entertainment. They didn't need to destroy your mind. They just needed to make you forget you had one. And it worked. Look at what we've become. A generation that can build artificial intelligence but can't sit alone with their own thoughts for 5 minutes. That can access all human knowledge but scrolls past it for cat videos and conspiracy theories curated by an algorithm. That speaks constantly but says nothing. That's connected to everyone but understands no one. We are the generation that was given every tool to become gods and instead became golden retrievers waiting for the next notification to tell us we're good boys. But here's what they didn't count on. Here's what terrifies every system of control, every algorithm of obedience, every architect of manufactured stupidity. Some of us remember. Some of us can still feel that something is deeply, fundamentally wrong. And some of us, maybe you, are ready to do something about it. By the end of this video, you will understand exactly how they built this stupidity. Not with force, not with chains, but with choice, with comfort, with clever design. You will see the exact mechanisms, psychological, technological, social, that transformed independent thinkers into dependent consumers. And more importantly, you will learn how to tear it all apart, how to reclaim the mind they stole while you were scrolling, how to become dangerous again in a world that profits from your docility, how to think in an age designed to prevent it. But I warn you now, what comes next will expose you. It will show you every way you've been complicit in your own intellectual suicide.
Every comfortable lie you've swallowed. Every time you chose easy over true. And once you see it, really see it, you can never unsee it. You can never go back to the blissful ignorance of the obedient mind. The funeral is over. The question is, are you ready to resurrect what died? Or will you walk away, back to your feed, back to your comfort, back to the slow suffocation of a life lived on autopilot? The choice, for perhaps the first time in years, is actually yours. Let's begin. Let me tell you about the most successful weapon ever created. Not a bomb, not a virus. Comfort. Because comfort doesn't destroy you quickly. It doesn't announce itself as your enemy. It whispers, it promises, it delivers. And while you're drowning in convenience, your mind slowly stops working. Nietzsche saw this coming over a century ago. He called it the last man, a creature that no longer strives, no longer suffers, no longer grows, a thing that blinks and says, "We have invented happiness." That's you. That's what you've become. You wake up, you scroll, you consume content engineered to require zero effort from your brain. You choose the path of least resistance every single time, and you call it living. But here's the truth that burns. Intelligence isn't a gift you keep forever. It's a muscle that atrophies the moment you stop using it, and you stopped using it the day curiosity became optional. Picture this. It's 1880. A young inventor sits by candlelight, teaching himself electrical theory from books he can barely afford. His eyes burn, his back aches. There's no entertainment, no distraction, no escape. Just him and the question that won't let him sleep. How does this work? That discomfort, that struggle, that was the forge where minds were made. Now picture yourself 6 hours every single day scrolling. Dopamine spike, dopamine spike, dopamine spike. Your brain lighting up like a slot machine, getting everything it craves and nothing it needs. No struggle, no friction, no growth. Just an endless conveyor belt of content designed by algorithms that know you better than you know yourself. You want to know why you can't focus anymore? Why you can't read a book without checking your phone? Why you start a project with fire and abandon it by Tuesday? Because your brain has been rewired for comfort, for instant gratification, for the path that requires nothing from you. Intelligence decays when curiosity is no longer required to survive. Read that again. When you can get fed, entertained, validated, and distracted without ever asking a hard question, your mind has no reason to stay sharp. The 19th century inventor had to think or starve. You can coast on autopilot until you die. And that's exactly what most people do. So ask yourself right now, when was the last time you were genuinely curious about something difficult? When was the last time you chose discomfort over distraction? When was the last time you used your mind for anything other than escaping your life? I know what you're feeling. That sick recognition, that quiet horror of seeing yourself clearly. You've become the very thing you despised. The NPC, the sheep, the last man, comfortable, safe, stupid. But here's what separates you from the rest. You're still here, still listening, still capable of feeling that disgust.